Scientists just found a way to detect diseases 10 years before symptoms appear. Brazil launched a global fund to save tropical rainforests, aiming for $125 billion. And extinction rates are falling for the first time in a century. I'm Freddy, this is good news, and here are 10 stories that will make you smile. Before we start with the video, I just want to say thank you for your incredible support on my last videos. We gained over 60,000 new subscribers since I last uploaded. You probably don't know this, but I've actually been doing YouTube for over 10 years now. And in those 10 years, I've never seen such a positive comment section. I think I literally spent 5 hours reading all of them. So again, thank you for your support, and we will make sure to bring you the best good news videos in 2026. Alright, let's start with the video. We are kicking off the year with a solution to a massive problem. In the US, $11 billion worth of perfectly good medicine gets thrown away every single year. Unopened, unexpired prescriptions. All wasted. And here's the frustrating part. 1 in 4 Americans can't afford the medication they need to stay healthy. It really shouldn't be this way. And that's why I have some good news. A non-profit called Xyrem found a way to tackle both problems at once. And here's how they did it. Instead of destroying extra medicine, pharmacies and health facilities donate it to Xyrem. Xyrem then matches it with community health centers and clinics across the country, who provide it to patients at little to no cost. And it's making a real difference. Over the past 16 years, they've delivered over $315 million worth of medicine. That's nearly 3 million prescriptions to over 500,000 patients. These are people who couldn't afford insurance or who didn't have enough coverage. And they are just getting started. Over the next 5 years, they are aiming to reach 1 million patients with nearly $1 billion worth of medicine. And the medical wins keep coming. The FDA just approved a brain chip that could restore speech to paralyzed people. Imagine losing the ability to speak, unable to tell your family you love them or share a simple conversation. For many paralyzed people, that's their reality. But now, a new brain chip could give them their voice back. It's called the Connexus, and it's the first fully implantable device approved for human trials in speech restoration. Here's how it works. The chip is implanted in the part of the brain responsible for speech movements. When a person imagines speaking, the chip reads those brain signals and sends them to a computer worn on their chest. The system learns what patterns match each sound, customizing itself to that person. Once trained, AI software then translates those brain signals into words, displaying them as text on a screen or spoken words. The technology can even recreate their actual voice using old recordings. The first trial will involve just 2 people, and if it works, the study could expand to 10 participants. For paralyzed patients who lost their ability to speak, this opens up communication in ways that were not possible before. And next up, scientists just found a way to detect diseases 10 to 15 years before symptoms even appear. UK Biobank just completed the world's largest study of substances in our bloodstreams. They analyzed blood samples from 500,000 volunteers, measuring nearly 250 different proteins, sugars, fats, and other substances. And this is big. When organs stop working properly, these substance levels change. A diseased liver drives up ammonia levels. A damaged kidney increases waste products like urea and creatinine. Cancer causes glucose levels to rise as tumors consume more energy. By creating a molecular profile for each person, researchers get a clear picture of their health. And when combined with medical records, they can predict disease risk years in advance. And what makes these profiles so powerful is that they capture more than just genetics. They reflect everything affecting your health. Diet, exercise, pollution exposure, and stress. That timeline gives doctors a chance to intervene early. They can help patients reduce their odds of developing conditions like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and dementia. Researchers are already using the data to develop predictive tests for various forms of dementia. It's a shift from treating diseases after they appear to catching them before they even develop. And before we get into the good news about saving our tropical forests, quick thanks to CyberGhost VPN for supporting the channel. By now you've probably already heard me talk about VPNs. I've been using CyberGhost for over a year and honestly it just works. Whether I'm working on videos at home or while traveling, I just like knowing that my data isn't being tracked or sold. Simply open CyberGhost before browsing to encrypt and reroute all of your traffic through their secure servers, so no one can see your activity. What I really like is that you can use CyberGhost on up to 7 devices at the same time. So I've got it on my laptop and my phone, but you could even share it with family and friends. And it also lets me watch content that might normally be blocked where I live. CyberGhost has over 38 million users and a great rating on Trustpilot. Overall, it's just really simple to use. You can either pick from over 100 countries yourself or just let it choose the best location for you. Then you just hit this button and that's it. This way, you get 40% more content from your streaming platform and even better deals online. Right now, you get 84% off plus 4 whole months for free. And they have a 45-day money-back guarantee, so you can literally just try it risk-free and see if you like it or not. Check them out at cyberghostvpn.com/goodnews or use our link in the description. And now, let's head over to South America. Brazil just launched a fund aiming to raise $125 billion to save our tropical rainforests. Every year, 60,000 square kilometers of tropical forest disappear. That's roughly twice the size of Belgium. But Brazil is now trying to change that. The concept is straightforward. Governments from around the world invest money into a fund. The first goal is $25 billion. That money is then invested in bonds to generate steady returns each year. Countries with tropical forests get paid for keeping their trees standing, which is around $4 per hectare. They qualify as long as they keep deforestation below 0.5% per year. 20% of those returns go to indigenous communities. They have proven to be the most effective guardians of these forests, preserving biodiversity better than any other group. We actually covered this fund last month here on Good News, right after Brazil announced it at COP30. And back then, only Brazil had committed funding. But now, several major commitments have come through. Norway put in $3 billion, the largest amount so far. Germany invested over $1.1 billion, while Brazil and Indonesia each added $1 billion and France $500 million. That's over $5.5 billion committed, with China, Singapore and the UAE expected to make announcements in the coming months. Up to 74 developing countries could receive funding, from the Amazon to the Congo Basin to Southeast Asia. This could protect millions of hectares of rainforests around the world. And over in North America, there's a trend worth celebrating. Gun violence is trending down in over 75% of American cities with the most shootings. A new analysis by The Trace looked at data from 150 cities across the country. And the results show something surprising. The decline is happening in cities and states across every region of the country. Cities like Detroit and Philadelphia are seeing their lowest rates of gun violence in decades. Experts say the drop isn't because of any single policy or program. Instead, it's the people working directly with communities. Teachers, counselors, coaches and violence prevention workers are making the difference. They work face-to-face with young people most vulnerable to violence. This includes mentoring them after school and running sports programs. And they are also there to stop conflicts before they escalate. This is a rare piece of good news in a difficult issue. Next up, we are looking at the shipping industry, where a new system is turning ship exhaust into building materials. The shipping industry accounts for 3% of global emissions, and it's one of the hardest to decarbonize. Alternative fuels are still in development and won't be commercially ready for at least another decade. So, a company from the UK took a different approach. They just installed the first commercial carbon capture system on a cargo ship. The process is simple. The ship's exhaust gets channeled into a chamber, filled with a chemical called calcium hydroxide. This chemical gets used up, so ships reload it at each port. The CO2 in the exhaust reacts with the calcium hydroxide, producing calcium carbonate, which is limestone. And limestone is the main ingredient in cement. So instead of just releasing emissions into the air, ships are at least producing raw materials that can be sold to cement factories. The system captures up to 95% of the ship's carbon emissions and 98% of sulfur compounds. It's compact, fits into shipping containers, and can be installed in weeks. The captured limestone gets delivered to cement facilities, where it's used to make concrete. Seabound's goal is to capture 100 million tons of CO2 annually by 2040. That's literally 10% of the entire shipping industry's emissions. For an industry that moves the majority of global trade, this could significantly reduce worldwide carbon emissions. And in South America, Colombia just made a historic decision. The country just became the first nation to ban all new oil and large-scale mining projects across its entire Amazon region. The Environment Ministry announced the decision at COP30. This region is home to around 10% of the planet's known plant species. And it also helps to regulate the climate and water cycle for the entire region. The protected area covers over 480,000 square kilometers. That's 42% of the country's entire territory. The ban blocks 43 oil projects and 286 mining applications that were set to begin. This will help prevent forest degradation, river pollution, and the loss of biodiversity that threatens the continent's climate balance. While Colombia protects forests on the ground, scientists just launched something to monitor sea level rise from space. SpaceX launched Sentinel-6B last November, and it's the second satellite in the series tracking sea levels. And that matters, because rising seas show us that ice is melting and the planet is heating up. The satellite orbits 1,300 kilometers above Earth, using radar to measure sea levels with an accuracy of about 2.5 centimeters. That might not sound like much, but even small changes in sea levels tell scientists a lot about what's happening to our planet. The data isn't just for research either. It's used for flood warnings, helping coastal cities plan for rising waters and protecting infrastructure along shorelines. It also helps with navigation, search and rescue operations, and monitoring coral reefs. The satellite joins its twin Sentinel-6A, which was launched in 2020. Together, they are continuing a dataset that stretches back to the early 1990s, giving scientists over 30 years of uninterrupted sea level measurements. That long-term data helps researchers understand how fast coastlines are changing and what that means for communities around the world. And there's also good news from France. A new study shows bird populations are starting to bounce back after Europe banned a class of bee-killing pesticides. These pesticides were widely used across Europe, but they were killing the insects that birds rely on for food. The European Union already banned them for outdoor use in 2018. Now, researchers have analyzed data from over 1,900 sites across France to see what happened next. And the results? Insect-eating bird species like blackbirds, blackcaps and chaffinches increased by 2 to 3% in the 4 years after the ban. This might seem small, but the study shows the increase is statistically significant. Researchers found that areas with pesticides had 12% fewer birds before the ban, but that gap started closing afterwards. They believe similar patterns are likely happening across the European Union, though other countries haven't analyzed their data yet. Full recovery will take 10 to 25 years, but the numbers are starting to turn around. That's because even though these pesticides persist in the soil for years, they slowly break down over time. Conservation efforts are making a difference, not just in France, but globally. A team from the University of Arizona analyzed biodiversity data spanning over 5 centuries. And what they found challenged the idea of an accelerating 6th mass extinction. Because extinction rates were the highest a century ago and have been falling ever since. The team studied data from close to 2 million species, tracking 900 that disappeared. Habitat protection and captive breeding programs over the past century have helped save species. However, not every species group shows the same pattern. About 2/3 of extinctions happened on islands, where invasive species from other regions pushed out the native animals. But the good news is that extinction rates for plants and insects have been falling since the early 1900s. The researchers are clear that threats like habitat loss and climate change remain serious challenges. But their data also shows protecting species is actually achievable. When we protect habitats, populations recover. So, which of these good news stories did you like the most? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to try CyberGhost VPN, use our link for 84% off and 4 months for free. You can use CyberGhost on 7 devices at the same time and share it with friends and family. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!